Hello, this is the second in a series of podcasts on network routing. This episode's about RIP version 2.
The original RIP protocol didn't support VLSM, and so version 2 was created to replace it. Every 30 seconds, each router distributes its routing table to its neighbours. When a router gets this information, it checks each record to see if it should add it to its own routing table. RIP is rarely used in modern networks because it only supports a maximum of 15 hops. And even in small networks, it can take a long time for changes to be reported to every router.
For this scenario, all we need to do is connect a serial cable to each router. We're also going to temporarily connect a computer to this router using its console port so that we can configure it in a moment. You could also telnet to if you wanted. In a typical setup, these two routers would likely be located in separate offices and connected over a leased line. Since they're both here, we're just going to connect them directly to each other. So we're connected to router A here. First thing we need to do is give our interfaces IP addresses. So enable, configure a terminal. The serial interface we want to configure first. So serial 010, IP address 192.1.1, and the subnet mask is /30, which is 255.255.252. Shut down, and interface loopback 0. It will give that an IP address of 172.16.1.1. 255.255. You can see how I'm configuring router A here from the diagram up at the top. Just do no shutdown here, and we will switch to router B and do the same thing with router B. So enable config T, config T, and serial 010, IP address 92.168.1.2. Okay. Do have a loopback address here. Okay, there we go. So the next thing we need to check is if we can ping across the serial interface. So what we can do, we'll ping router A. So we'll ping 192.168.1.1, and we can in fact ping across the serial interface. However, if we tried to say ping the loopback interface on the other router, it would not work, because it does not know how to route traffic between those two networks. So next we will configure RIP version 2 on both routers. So we'll start with router B, config T, the command is router RIP, we specify version 2, and we'll tell it about the networks it's connected to. So network 10.1.1.0 and network 192.168.1.0. We'll do no auto summary and exit. And we'll do for the purposes of demonstration, we'll do a show IP route You won't see any RIP routes in there yet though, because as you know we haven't configured the other router with RIP yet. So we'll switch to router A and do the same thing. Config T, router RIP, version 2, network 172.16.1.0. If we do a show IP route here, we'll see what's happened. RIP is now active on these networks. So we should be able to, if we go back to router B, do the same command that we did before that failed, and now it works. It's able to route traffic between those two networks. So that's how to configure RIP on a Cisco router.